Okay, the movie that I was putting on at the bottom where my fast forward is the entire biblical story told from Satan's perspective by Bible animation. I cannot use that. I have 2 copyright strikes, and if I get another one, they will take my video down. So I'm going to go back to Now You See TV and see what I can put on in this right here video and take one of them off, and then I'll just have one left. Here I am on his channel, the video that I asked him about. Let me scoot you over here. It says, I would like to use this on my channel. I am not monetized. I have a sewing channel. If I do not hear from you, then I would say it would be okay. But if I do hear from you, I will not do it. Alright? He goes, what would you like to use it for? Okay? I says, when I fast forward, instead of putting music, I like to put something down there that shows off Jesus Christ. And he goes, sure. And I say, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I do not know if it's him or not. I am not going to worry about it. But I'm going to have to just stick to the ones that I know that really says it on their video that they do not care. I did like this right here video, but I cannot use it no more, so I'm going to have to change it. Right. We are done with these, and I'm hoping they'll turn out right and make sure. Now we have these right here to go. So we'll be back and we'll cut some of these out.
Excited about tonight's show because admittedly I have to say, David and everybody out there listening, that I don't know a ton about Mormonism. I've met a few Mormons in my life, and they were really nice people, really smart people, but they were just regular people that were in the Mormon church. So I'm excited to hear this stuff tonight. This is the first I'm hearing about some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. So I'm just in the same boat you guys listening are, and I'm hoping to ask some good questions too that maybe you guys are thinking of as well. So if there's anything in the chat that you were like, man, John, ask him this question, and I see it, I will try to do so. With that being said, David, let's boom, 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 boom. Let's ride. That wasn't a good motorcycle song.
Let's ride. All I ask is only ask me questions I know the answers to, and it will be all good. All right. Moroni, the Prince of America. And we'll qualify just a little bit what I mean by the Prince of America. In Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. There is organization and structure in the Satanic kingdom, and one of those is these principalities or princes. And when we look at the Word of God, we find that these are fallen angels that hold sway. They're in the second heaven, and they hold sway over certain geographical areas. Let's read in Daniel 10. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for For from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. There are princes over different areas over Persia. Then said he, Knowest thou wherefore I am come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come, the prince of Persia, the prince of Grecia. Daniel 9:26 speaks of the prince of the people that shall come, the prince of Rome. Ezekiel 38:3 talks about Gog, chief prince of Machish and Tubal. These are fallen angels over geographical areas. Now, the Bible doesn't say there's a prince of America, but just from what we could imagine, that there are fallen angels holding sway over every geographical area. And that's what we're looking at tonight. Is there any way?
Now we got some of these done. Let's get one of them. And then we're going to take one and lay it down here. Now this right here needs to stick out, and this side needs to line up with that one, and then this side needs to be even with this side, and this one needs to stick out on that side. Alrighty, now we got one side we're going to put on. So here we got these. So we're going to put this one on in a minute.
That we could identify the specific fallen angel that is holding sway over America. And that is what we're going to attempt to do. Now, this is a picture here, a drawing of Cotton Mather. And he lived from 1662 to 1728. He was the leading, most influential Puritan in America during his lifetime, the head of the Puritan movement. And I want to read something, and he also was involved in the Salem witch trials, and we're going to confuse the issue with a few facts this evening. Now, I want to read something he said that is just extremely profound and stunning. And this is from his book, Wonders of the Invisible World. He says this: "We have been advised by some credible Christians yet alive that a malefactor accused of witchcraft as well as murder and executed in this place more than 40 years ago did then give notice of an horrible plot against the country by witchcraft, and a foundation of witchcraft then laid, which if it were not seasonably discovered, would probably blow up and pull down all the churches in the country. And we have now with horror seen the discovery of such a witchcraft. An army of devils is horribly broke in upon this place, which is the center, and after a sort the firstborn of our English settlements, and the houses of good people there, and the houses of the good people there are filled with doleful shrieks of their children and servants, tormented by invisible hands with tortures altogether preternatural." And he was describing, and we're going to get into the horrors inflicted upon the children in Salem, Massachusetts, and what would be more devilish and fiendish. Salem was the name of Jerusalem before it was called Jerusalem. In Genesis 14:18, "And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God." What would be more satanically appropriate than for Satan to take down Christianity in America at the town that was named after Jerusalem? It kind of fits satanically, doesn't it?
I'm going to love her no matter what. I put a rug on my tray that I've got my stuff in so that I can keep my stuff together, and she wanted to lay down there, so that's good for me. Alrighty, now this is what I want to show you. Put that over there. This right here. This is the first one that I done. It turned out okay. This one is the second one that I done. And I've got a space right here. So I don't like doing it that way. So we'll show you how I'm putting them together. And so it'd be a whole lot more easier. See here, so here hit here, and it hit here, and it gives me enough to sew down. So I am liking that. Now, here we got that, and we got this. Let me get me a seat. And in that way, we can do it. Alright, I want to start with this end, and I want to put my the end of it right at the end of this one, and then we're going to pin it down. Now we're going to go on around, and we're going to pin it down. Keep on going around with it. Make sure that these right here are flat. Alright, come on. Don't do me that way. Pin it down, then that way we can sew it down a whole lot more easier. And it seems like it works better at it. Oh, come on, let go. Alright. See here how this one here comes out? So I'm wondering how the other one will turn out. But if I go ahead and do one, I feel like I'm going to really mess things up. So I don't want to mess things up. So I'm going to continue to do this, and hopefully it will work. I wonder how I could throw one on here and see what happens. Alright, get off of there, you thing. Ooh, yeah, that one's gonna fit. Yeah, that'll fit. I wish that I could pin it and it worked. But see this little bit that's here, we don't have to worry about it because it will be in the seam line. And we want to make sure that we sew this straight, or kind of straight, kind of curved. I don't want to cut it down. There we go. We'll stick it right with it, right along the side of it, and then that way it will work. See what happens here.
Now, I want to just think about a few things here, and that's quite a statement. Mr. Mathers is saying that the things that took place at the Salem witch trial, and we're going to get in to just what happened there, and what I'm going to be maintaining there, that what was happening to the children at Salem was satanic ritual abuse. Nothing less than that. And we're going to show and identify the perpetrators and the purpose behind it. Now, this book is called Solomon's Power Brokers, and it's written by British Freemason Christopher Knight and Alan Butler. And I want to read a little bit from this book and talk about the star families. And the star families, and this guy here, Mr. Knight, he believes the star families are great. He believes they're of God, and he wants to see their agenda be achieved. And this is what he says about the star families on page 70 in his book. He says, this appears to be a description of the star families, the people who were God's bloodline of kings and priests, the ones whose duty was to create a new world order to guide humankind to its ultimate destiny.
Yeah. That's going to work out perfect. Alright, let's get these right here sewed down and get done with them. Alright, it is early in the morning, 8:21. I'm usually still in the bed. But however, I have this many left over. So I'm going to stick them down here. And I'm going to get out my pile here. Now, this one, you have just a little bit. And this one. And then some of them come out just right. But some of them have a long gape there. So I'm going to try to work on the one that has the long gape on it, so we know what we're going to have to work with. Let me get one of these. Alright, and it will go over here. So, let me go get this template. Okay. So, now, if we have to cut this down, put it the way it needs to be, like that, and then cut this down, then we can do it with this template. Alrighty, so, now then, this right here, get my pins out here. I want to start it right here in the corner. And then we're going to take this one and we're going to lay it down. Now this is curved. We're going to have to do like the 3 and then straighten it and 3. I got a cat once in. Yeah, come in. No, that's you. Alrighty. So, now then we want to start going around with it and putting in a pin all the way around it. Now, I found that it's a whole lot easier. Let me get these so I don't have more. That if you put your pin with the stripe, then it's a whole lot more easier to play with it. So, come on, Mama Cat, move. Move it, move it, move it, move it, move. Alright. Now, if we look at it right here, we still have this one that is going past it. So, let's see what we could do. That one's going to be putting it right with it. I wonder how well that would work. Best way to do that is to put it like that. And I'm going to change these to sideways so that we can look at it better. See what happens. I think that will work. See, this right here. Okay. Let's change these around. Okay. Now we have that. Now we're going to go this way with it. Let's see how well it does. Okay, that don't look too bad. Now this right here has just got pins in it. So here we got one that's going. It's not get to lay down. Now we got pins, it's not laid down. And I think that right there would work out just fine. I don't think I have to do any cutting to it. But now, if I do find that I have to do any cutting to it, then we will. I want this corner matched up with this corner, and this corner matched up to that corner. And then that way we know we've got it where we need it at. So, oh, come on. Can't pick it up. So, I'm going to go ahead and start putting these right here on this other side. And I still got these left over. They can go back in my other thing here. Alrighty, so I hope I don't have to cut any of them down because I want them the same size. Alrighty, I'm going to get busy and get these right here done.
And of course, we would disagree with Mr. Knight that these star families were of God. But in their opinion, they're God's bloodline of priests. He says to the star families, Jesus fell short of being a God, but he was without doubt one of Yahweh's true prophets, and his influence had been and would prove to be pivotal to the world. So their Jesus was a good guy, but he fell short of being God. And this would certainly fit with Mormonism. Now, a couple more things. He says here on page 210, he says the first so-called regular lodge in North America was St. John's Lodge of Boston, warranted from London in 1733. There can be little doubt that it was ultimately the star families already, like the Washingtons, present in the colonies, who took the tame Georgian or Hanoverian Freemasonry prevalent in the infinite United States and turned it into something quite different. In other words, what he's saying is there was Freemasonry in the early colonies that was pretty tame stuff, but these star families got a hold of it and they put the occult juice to it. And he goes on to say, the new secular cover for the Star Family mission was Freemasonry. The rituals that gave rise to it were ancient and based in a belief in the power of the Shekinah that had held good since the time of King Solomon. He says the greatest objective for the star families is to unify, to create a single world over which God can rule. They wish to bring down international barriers and unify man's relationship with God. This is just nothing but the plan to establish a new world order. And according to Mr. Knight, these families were in the early colonies putting the occult juice to American colonial Freemasonry. Now, is this anything that is in any way credible? Well, here we have a book called America's Secret Establishment by Anthony C. Sutton. He was a scholar from Stanford, and he did this the seminal study here on skull and bones, and he identifies in Massachusetts. In the 1600s, all of these skull and bone families that had been put in Massachusetts, these are the star families. Look at them. We have the Whitney family. We have the Bundy family, Rockefeller family, Standard Oil, the Harriman family, railroads, the Pillsbury family, sorry about you, Poppin' Fresh, the Payne family, Standard Oil. All of these, every one of these families, you could do detailed presentation. Their power was then, their power is now, their old world money and occult tradition and bloodline that came over from England. Every one of these were established at the time that Cotton Mather was there. So we have every reason to believe that there was a very powerful force of Freemasonry, not just as we're often led to believe. So, this fella that talks about American Freemasonry, the wall builders guy, he makes it sound like it's a revival meeting down at the lodge. That's not the way that it was.
Alrighty, we are done with this one. I want you to make sure to tell you that you need to back stitch right there, and then back stitch right about here, and back stitch right about there, so that it will hold it down and make it look good.
Satan had put his hand in there big time through the star families, and it was turned, in the words of Mr. Knight, from something tame into something that was not very tame.
Alrighty, we want to lay one of them down, and we want to line it up to where one corner fits right here with that one piece on top of it, and go around with it, and make sure that it lines up all the way. And if we have to cut it, we can cut it, but I hope we don't have to cut it. So there's that. So we want to pin it down and then sew it all the way down and around.
Now, this is a book entitled Early Mormonism and the Magic Worldview. And I'm going to read from this book 2 or 3 times during the presentation. And I'm going to give the pedigree of this fellow, the pedigree of Michael Quinn. His academic credentials are about as impressive as anyone that you could ever have. He was voted the teacher of the year at Brigham Young University. I mean, this guy, as a Mormon, his academic credentials are off the hook. But anyway, on page 31 of this book, he writes this. In 1930, an official historian of the LDS Church wrote, "It may be admitted that some of Smith's ancestors believed in fortune-telling, in warlocks, and witches." And this is even something that the LDS history admits about the lineage of Joseph Smith's family, that they were indeed into witchcraft, into warlocks, and we're going to show you. And I'll just lay it on the line here. Joseph Smith was more than just a false teacher. He was more than just a founder of a non-Christian religion. Joseph Smith was a black magician. He was a black magician, nothing less than that. And the things that we're going to see, the facts we're going to see before our eyes, I believe are going to substantiate that this evening. Now, I'm going to read from this book here. It's entitled Sinister Forces by Peter Levenda. And I'm going to read from page 28 and 29. And this book here is really, this is book 3. I'm reading from book 1. There's a 3-part series that Mr. Levenda did on political witchcraft. And I tell you what, it's worth the read. I have really been enjoying it. Now, I want to read here from page 28 and 29 from Mr. Levenda's book here. And Mr. Levenda says this. He says,
now we'll give it a sew down. But we always want to cut from our last one, not up here, because it will make it go inward, and we don't want that. We want to be able to still go flat, and this side you can still go flat with it.
In fact, what many Americans and probably most Mormons do not know is that Joseph Smith Jr., who would go on to found the Mormon religion, was a direct descendant of one of the accusers at Salem, one Samuel Smith of Boxford, who accused Mary Esty of witchcraft. Now, what we're talking about the Salem witch trials, and we're talking about Joseph Smith's great grandfather accusing people at the witch trial. And it says another accuser, one John Gold, who accused Sarah Wild, was Samuel Smith's father-in-law. Now, it's time to set the record straight. It really is. It's time to set the record straight. At the Salem witch trials, and this is where the demonic psyop
we have this one right here done now. So it turned out pretty good. I have a little bit right here, and I'm not going to worry about it. But if it goes any further, I will want to trim it down. But other than that, it turned out pretty good.